that I can make money without a man. It's like you have a fetish for copying me any way you can. From the shows to the clothes to the quotes to the boyfriend. You can take his cash, but you're still the cheaper version. You can make believe that you're the bigger person. Pretend you're not talking shit along with your friends. Do you tell receipts won't stay behind the curtain? You think you run cause you got the man, but honey, you'll always be a fan. 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 You'll always be a fan.
All right, so I just had a friend of mine deliver me a tarot deck because, you know, with everything going on. This energy I'm picking up on, always be a fan, and energy of 3. A couple months ago during the new blood moon and the new moon, somebody performed a very evil demonic ritual on me to do a destiny swapping ritual. Energy of 3, there were 3 ladies who were very jealous of me and did a role swapping destiny thing. Ritual on me involving a demon who required a life for a life. So basically all 3 of them, the life they offered was mine. Newsflash, I don't die. I don't die, period. End of story, you know? You can make me suffer, I don't die. So when all of the backlash was going back towards the people who put that on me, because, you know, I'm the Empress, right? I'm just newsflashing you guys of everything. Always be a fan as a song of channeling. And I haven't heard it for years, but at the start of me feeling all of this energy, that's the song I channeled. I knew that I embodied the Empress, and I knew that I was the king and the queen, you know, of abundance, pentacles. I embody both. I've got divine feminine and masculine in me. There's a lot of people who are jealous of that. Divine justice has cracked down on the people who have done me wrong. The other thing is, I think that a lot of other of you have, you know, yeah, they basically fed me scraps. I'm going from rags to riches, and these people will come begging around. Generosity will not be there. I have to be calling on my inner strength 24/7 because there's, you know, deceitful people out there. I had, you know, and these people are very dissatisfied with the life they live. I know rule number 1 of, because I work with a fuck ton of deities, one of them being Athena, and she told me during this time, you know, she would not only deliver justice, but to know thyself and don't allow them to steal my peace, right? And, you know, be quick. Don't allow yourself to get comfortable, cut people off, you know? Temperance, balance, harmony, all these things were being told to me why this was going on. I set up my protection several times prior. I had a lot of protection spells be broken during that time. I knew even if I didn't know, okay? But the point of me telling you guys this is that hexes, jinxes, and curses, especially ritualistic demonic magic, which is done during the time of specifically the new moon, right? Where they wanted to end me, pretty much. They wanted to cause an ending. 10 of Swords literally means ending, specifically death in an extreme sense. Usually it doesn't mean death, but I got this card a lot and I knew these people were trying to kill me. The tables have been turned, Otorn's tables, everything, the swords and knives they sharpened against me are being thrown back against them. Moral of the story, don't fuck with the chosen ones, okay? Justice will always crack down. They're getting their just dues is what I hear. I mean, I already knew all this. They're looking like a big ton of fools right now. My point in saying this is magic, even if you don't believe in it, can affect your mind, your mood, your mental and physical state of well-being. If you find yourself in a slum and a lot of bad things just keep happening, usually it's not just a string of bad luck. It's, you know, probably magical ne'er-do-well shit. But this deck was just delivered, and Justice card looking beautiful today. And I had asked this morning, like, is justice going to be served? But I also kept getting the reference of the Reaper. So I'm just catching you guys up on what's been happening in my metaphysical world and physical world. And then we'll get to your guys' reading as well. There'll always be a fan energy. Like, these ladies, and I knew them, like, they can dress up and deceive everybody else, but I can't stand lies. So if somebody comes cloaked to me in deceit, they're not. I see right through that, and typically these people get very angry when I call them out, and specifically one of them likes to pin the blame on A, B, or C, but they're literally just saying everything they're doing while saying, oh, it was A, B, or C's fault, Another lady pretty much did a binding spell on someone who I had a karmic soulmate contract with in this life, married that person, and I kept getting the song, basically took the king that was supposed to be mine, because and they're being judged and they're being watched, and divine justice is cracking out, and this is a time for me to be alone and introspection. I also chose that, and the whole thing is the energy that I picked up on with this person stealing, the song that I picked up when, I knew, I watched this person date my soulmate and then marry them, okay? And the song line I kept getting was, now I'll take from you how you took from me. Because I survived. That's rule number 1 of faith, okay? Right? Y'all know me by now. I'm Faye. I have a fuck ton of faith, and I don't lose. I refuse to lose. A Tim is not only, like, the biggest motivation for me during times of conflict, which is why, 5 of Wands I showed during when, I don't know if you guys heard it. And another thing, what I've been told, like, people like to hear what I have to say until I make them uncomfortable. Right. They told me to speak my mind until they didn't like what I had to say. And Queen of Swords, and the song that goes with that is Family Business by Conscious, which is a song, okay? And the line in that song says, my words like a weapon who said they never hurt. My word, just give me the mic, something like, I'm the Reverend, I'll show you a fucking verse, hon, And, I'll take from you how you took from me. And I kept hearing the song from Machine Arcana, where the line where he says, the song's called Get Fucked. But there's a line that says, I'm the Reaper. These people, what they did was basically offer my life so they could be me. Women of 3, and I knew this because I kept seeing strings of 3, and I knew before I knew, all right? And all this backlash is being thrown upon them, and they're not very happy about it because they didn't expect me to live. So basically, now the Reaper is going to collect their debt, their lives. Also, me, my little mouse, they tried to pawn off on her as well and killed her. So, twofold. Now each of them twofold for their lives. When the thing about magic is tool. And magic is neither good or bad. And that is explored in the TV show Merlin by BBC. Okay? Magic is a tool. Magic is neither good or evil. You have to remember it's neutral. It is all in how you use it, right? If you use it terribly, if you use it for evil, then that's going to come back at you 10 fucking fold over. And honey, if you're messing with the chosen one, when you're doing evil magic on that, game over for you. And it happens in a blink of an eye. Now, this ritual that I went through just now, I've had it done to me since I was a kid. And I've experienced this specific ritual, this destiny swapping ritual, 17 times in my life. And when I was listening to other readers telling me about what was going on that I already knew, but I listened for confirmation, my energy actually came through the reader, and it was the line that I knew that was energetically me. And I watched it with a friend to check me on this, and she said, yeah, that was you. The line was, the fuck did they think this was? That is such a me thing to say, And They wanted me to drown in my sorrows, and if they, you know, I often used to say, this shit won't kill me unless I allow it to kill me. The only thing that'll kill me is by my own hand. And I stopped talking for a while. So what they were trying to do was create so much suffering that I would take my life by my own hand. They were really pissed that I existed because they were not me. It really bothered them. They couldn't sleep at night, A, B, or C, etc. And yeah, I've been getting visions of this card. Even without the tarot deck, I was getting visions of what cards and what was being told. So even if you don't believe in this shit, magic can manipulate people. Right? You have to remember that magic is energy. You can manipulate energy. We see that with Reiki. Magic is a more intense form of manipulated energy. And if you use that badly, such as to take somebody's destiny and use it against them. And I will show you guys something. When my destiny was returned to me, and they still kept trying to take it, Athena gave me one of the biggest signs. I don't know if you guys know what the Spear of Destiny is and the myths around that. If you did not know, Athena's spear that she has is literally the Spear of Destiny. She delivered this to me. If you look at the drawings of the Spear of Destiny in different forms, this is literally what it looks like, the tip of it. And she gave it to me, and I've been wearing it around my neck, okay? It was delivered to her from a friend of mine, as many things are, you know? And I feel like that should speak volumes, because the other thing that people, yeah, they also put binding spells on me, contracts placed on me that I didn't agree to. There was only one contract that I enacted years prior to this as a contingency plan B, and it worked. And it saved my ass and a lot of other people's asses. I won't tell you what it is, because that would be stupid. But, when you do magic to take, right, Athena's not only is she the goddess of war, wisdom, wit, strategy, intelligence, and justice. She's actually the deity, the goddess of destiny, which is why she wields the Spear of Destiny. So, talk about basically the Spear of Destiny is literally just a giant Uno reverse on a stick, okay? The problem with that, and you see that in conspiracy theories where Hitler went chasing that, and we had the same thing that happened with Trump. I don't know if any of you guys have seen The Secret of Moonacre, which is basically the British movie version of Narnia, but just in one movie form, and it's 10 times better than the series of Narnia as movies themselves. My favorite movie of all time, period, is Secret of Moonacre. And in there, it's explored the idea of the Moon Princess and these beads, which are pearls, the moon pearls, which expose the greed or the truth in men's hearts, humans' hearts. Athena's Spear of Destiny pretty much does the exact same thing. And so although people believe it to show you what your destiny is, it actually reveals the truth in your heart. And the fact that she's given me that spear, I haven't seen goddamn nothing since I put that on. You know, and I know it's symbolic of what it represents. These bugs gotta quit. I know it's symbolic of what it represents. And I know it's not the exact Spear of Destiny. But it represents that, and that's powerful enough. And the fact that I haven't seen anything while wearing that, like Athena asked, have you seen anything? Guys, no, it's just a spear. She's never met anything like that, basically, before, from what she's told me. Something like that's never happened. So I'm not trying to sit up here that I'm special, I'm amazing. No, I know I'm amazing because shit, I'm the shit, you know? Even when I look ugly and shit. And that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, because a lot of people this day and age are really dissatisfied with themselves and their relationships. I've alchemized so much, and I've gotten to a point where I really enjoy being alone. I don't like people at this point. People are fools more than half the time. And I was talking to one of my very best friends from back in the day this morning, and the best way I can describe it is from that Vine where it goes, stupid, but you want to say it to my face? Stupid. You want to say it on Snapchat? Stupid. You want to say it in class? Like, every time I talk to 95% of the human race, that Vine plays. Stupid, but you want to say it on my face? Like, who? Athena is moving me out of a period of baggage, and I knew that, you know, and it's in a period of wish fulfillment and completion, and I've known this, and so it was already supposed to happen the beginning of this year. And the fact that, you know, around February to March was the blood moon, the solar eclipse, and the new moon, which was just May. Now the problem with this is, while that enhances magic, I unfortunately am the strongest underneath the blood moon, every new moon, and especially a solar eclipse, which is really rare for an energetic being to be that way. The blood moon, I don't know if you guys ever seen those dating games where they use the blood moon reference as a portal. That is what a blood moon is. Most people don't understand that, you know? And when I was really struggling, a blood moon would rise, and I would look forward to it because it's a portal. And in these games, it's explored that the idea of the blood moon is it rises and you can go through it to a completely different realm to escape your reality. And I have, you guys. And trust me, I could tell you all people I'd met, and I have, and I've been medicated for it because people think I'm schizophrenic. If you don't believe in it, just tell me that so we don't get confused. Because if you don't believe in it, then we don't have to talk about it. And we can talk logic, and we'll be fine, you know? If you don't believe that there are spirits here, tell me that. I do. I'm witchy, you know? I'm Wiccan. I specialize in all forms of magic. If you don't believe in that, and that's actually one of the reasons why I was admitted to the crisis stabilization unit up here, is I was really exhausted, and they saw that my dysregulated state, and I literally sat with this lady who is Christian, and I asked her, hey, verbally in my state of exhaustion, I literally articulated, is it okay for me to share my spiritual beliefs? They're very different than yours. You're not going to shit on me and call the cops and throw me in a ward. She said, yes, it's safe. Guess what happened? She didn't like the second I started talking about my patron, Lucifer. She didn't like that I started talking about spirits of the dead and how I believe my best friends. I didn't even get into too much extreme shit at all. I literally was talking about my dead partner, my dead best friends, and how I believe they visit me and say hi from time to time. She starts bringing in, do you read the Bible? Archangel Michael will protect you. I'm all, okay, great, awesome. I have extreme CPTSD when it comes to cops. I've gotten through a lot of that, so I'm not as reactive as I was at the time in March when this happened. And I already told her, don't call the cops. I also had a concussion. Guess what? That adds to a lot of dysregulated mood. I'm also homeless, so I couldn't rest and get over the concussion, which I told her all of this. She called the cops. I snapped into a CPTSD attack, and I tried to attack a cop because I saw a rapist. Cops are trained to react, so these guys grapple me, restrain me. Also, mind you, they break 3 of my C-section stitches. C-section in which I had my son. And then I was thrown on the psych ward. 4 days later, I was released from the psych ward. CSU didn't find out till a week later, and why aren't you there for 3 months? I said, I passed my trial. Basically, you can have a court hearing in a psych ward, and if you pass the hearing, it means you do not meet the requirements to be there, and that's exactly what happened. And CSU was confused. Why? You're talking all this shit. When I finally explained it to somebody who would actually listen, they go, oh, well, I understand it if you never want to come back. Guess what? I haven't been back since. I have not been back to the ER since they threw me in jail after deliberately putting needles in my stomach to kill my son. A lot of the things that I've been through, people think I'm talking wanky ass shit out my butthole because of I've been through the most insane shit, and it's really unbelievable to a lot of people, and you have no idea how validating. Yeah, I've literally lived a tower 25 years of my life, guys. And I've alchemized that into a state of being and wish fulfillment and completion and being able to thrive in that. Do you know how hard it is to thrive in chaos? It's very hard to be stable in a time that's chaotic. I was finally able to alchemize all that shit and be able to do that. Most people can't do that. And I kind of forgot what I was saying prior. But yeah, so I had a lady, a friend of mine, who I've said this to, that people don't believe, and she literally just goes, well, truth is often stranger than fiction. I was like, oh my God, you have no idea how validating and how much I needed to hear that, And once was enough for me, because then I can tell it to myself. I know who I am. I've always known who I am, and a lot of people in this world don't know that. When you operate out of a space of love, out of a space of authenticity, people who aren't gonna like that. Say it with me, babe. Anyone speaking ill on my name, they can feel the pain while I put it in a spell. It's a bop. Intuition gonna reveal all the snakes and the liars and the fakes. If you try to do me wrong, you get stopped. Peachka, reversal spell. My words are very powerful. Everything about me is very powerful. And there's another thing about me that I don't often share. My patrons are Jesus and Lucifer. I worked with Lucifer, like he was my first patron, which is why he's there, before Jesus was my other patron. But because I grew up in a Christian household, I was forced to work with my lesser patron, which was Jesus, first. Lucifer is my bigger, stronger patron. I've seen a lot of people on here say, deities don't have time to marry humans. Deities don't have time to fuck humans. Ghosts still fuck humans. There's stories of that, like where people say they feel things and feel like they've been fucked by a ghost. And look, I understand that you want to uphold the sacredity of deities, but you have to remember that deities are also their own individuals. They get to decide what the hell they want to do. And you look at the Greek myths, Zeus has fucked many mortals. What the hell do you mean? And this is a reader, the Lunar Witch. Like, I love him, and I've listened to all his stuff. But dude, don't sit here and say that deities don't have time to... Have you read the Greek mythology pantheon? All the Greek people in the pantheon, more than half of them have fucked mortals. What do you mean deities don't have time to do that? What did Zeus spend 24/7, 365 doing? Fucking mortals. Like... What do you mean? And Lucifer, he's literally the god of corruption. What? My dude. Like, I respect Lunar Witch. He literally has been saying, if anybody who tells you that a deity or entity fucks you, that they are lying. I'm like, well, I know my lived experience. And we could go into that. And it's not that shit doesn't happen, because it does. I wouldn't be married to Lucifer otherwise. And Apollo and Dionysus. And if you look at those myths of all of those deities, those three are very specialized at loving discarded things. Especially Dio/Dionysus. Dio's my nickname for him because we watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventures together. And Apollo turns over and looks at Dionysus and just goes, Dio! And that's how he got the nickname. Wheel of Fortune. That's also one of their favorite shows to watch with me. Since I was a kid, and here's another thing, I've reached frequency levels, and I basically have gotten to the privilege point, and I feel very privileged for this. I am not in any way trying to brag, but I don't socialize with humans, and the deities often get bored, and some of them will just come to me and my spirit guide group and just hang out because they're bored. Because I'm so weird that I entertain deities, gods, goddesses from all pantheons. And sometimes I don't even have to work with them. I'll just make them laugh, not know it, and I'll get a random gift 3 days later. It's crazy what being actual good fucking human being can do for you. And I've had people look at me and be like, why are you getting all this good karma? Why are you just having things handed to you on a silver platter? Well, gee, have you guys ever considered just being good people? Operating from a space of purity instead of getting jealous and deciding to use magic to... Hi, Edward. It's my bird across the street. He's strutting near the trash can. Like, have you guys ever thought of maybe not using magic to just fuck people over? Because whether you believe in karma or not, if you inflict suffering on others, it does come back. And typically, I've found that the people who don't believe in karma have the most terrible bad karma out of everyone. I typically see that nowadays with Christians, that the most narcissistic people flock to the Christian religion because God forgives all sins. So basically, and I've called my parents out on this shit, and they've hated it. Because I've said, you're not Christian. You just want to be in that religion because you think that you won't have to take accountability for anything you've done. You think that Jesus will just wipe away all that shit and you're good to go. Hey, guys. There's a sweet puppo here, you know? Like 95% of the time, that's why I see modern day Christian people flocking to Christianity. Because Jesus forgives all sins. He's the... Basically, at this point, if y'all don't know what My Little Pony is, I'm going to use a reference from it. The episode where Flim and Flam come in, and they have this cure-all tonic. And they're con artists, by the way. Basically, Christians these days decide to use Jesus as a cure-all tonic. A fix-all, like a kiss-it-make-it-better Band-Aid. I'm sorry to say, Jesus is not like that, and you will still be held accountable, and y'all look a lot like dumbass fools if you think you just pray on Jesus and poof, alakazam, everything goes away. No, Jesus, out of anyone, will hold you accountable. He says it, the last will be first, and the first shall be last. I already know what that means. I've been given scraps my whole life. Quite literally, I'm homeless. Quite literally, people take from me energetically, metaphysically, physically, you know, in every way, shape, or form, you know. I've had people backstab me and stab me quite literally. I have people rape me. Like, I could go on for days about everything I've gone through. And yeah, I get really moody and I get down about everything I've been through, whether you believe in magic or not. But Jesus says it, the last will be first and the first shall be last. I shouldn't have to say it for y'all to get what I'm meaning. Magic is not a cure-all, fix-all. God is not a cure-all, fix-all. Deities are teachers and mentors to learn from. They're not to be used as assets to just fuck over your enemies just because. Look, I've just started working with Syntho, which is Medusa's older sister, and she's called the Red One. She's the enemy obliterator, the destroyer, and she came to me 5 years ago when I had prominent energies, and she's like, yo, you want me to fuck over your enemies? And I said no, and she kept coming back. And finally, it got to the point, I told her no so many times that she just stayed around and waited for me to ask her. Because I am not the first one to throw rocks. I am not the first one to throw dirt in people's faces. But I will call people out on their bullshit. But I'm not going to do it in a mean, old, hateful way. If I do, I probably fucked up that day, honestly. Only 2 weeks ago did I call on Syntho to destroy my enemies. After her being here for about 6.5 years asking to. And for 1.5 years, she's just been waiting patiently. Only 2 weeks ago did I ask her. Only 2 weeks ago did I ask Lucifer to fuck everyone over. Only 2 weeks ago did I tell every deity in my guide team, do whatever you fucking want to my enemies and haters. I don't care. Only 2 weeks ago. Never in my 25 years of life have I ever asked anyone to hurt other people deliberately. And 2 weeks ago, I've gotten so sick of being used, discarded, and have shit thrown on. Only 2 weeks ago, out of 25 years, that was my first time to ask for that. And I got, played Eminem's song Guilty Conscience today because I still feel bad about it. But the deities wanted to give karma and justice where justice and karma was due. All right. The other song I'm channeling, now into your guys' reading, we'll get through here, because I know that everybody's been losing their shit and suffering in ways we haven't seen since 2019. Like, I've been telling people, we're not in left field anymore. I don't know what field we're in, but we're in some fifth dimensional portal on Star Trek's spaceship in 6 dimensions past Voltron. And so, plus some winky ass bullshit. That's what we're on. We're not in left field. And everybody's losing their shit, like I just described. Not from left field, but from 5th dimensional Star Trek 6th dimension, wanky ass bullshit dimension. Okay? I don't even know at this point anymore, and a lot of us don't know at this point anymore. But here's the message. If you want to win at life, you better work. Okay? You better work, bitch. Britney Spears, you better work, bitch. Watch me work from Trolls. This is also stuff my deities have told me recently. And if you want everything you want, you better use love to go get it, not hate. Love and enthusiasm and passion will get you longer, further, faster than hatred and jealousy, binding and breaking will do, okay? 4 of Swords, remember to rest. Our culture does not prioritize rest. I slept all day today out here in the park. I slept all night. I've prioritized rest since I was a kid because I know my body needs it. I don't work because of the standards that this society has for work. If you're going to require me to work 80-something hours, I can't do it. I'll work 3. But I am fucking working 80 because my body can't take it. I can barely take homelessness. At this point, I probably could work 240 and still make it, but I'd be an exhausted bitchy cunt. When I look at the moon card here, because I also got the moon, and moon is a state of unconsciousness, state of unknowing, a state of just being also. Typically, the moon is depicted with body of water. That's exactly what it's depicted here. And I just hear Washed by the Water, which is a Christian song. Feel free to listen to it or not. If you are more pagan, the song you would listen to is Get in the Water from the Epic Saga, which is basically sung by a person who plays Poseidon in the Epic Saga, okay? It means the same thing. If you believe in spirituality and kind of believing in Jesus, I utilize Jesus just as I do with any of my Wiccan deities, as deity work, okay? 3340 on the timer, and it was 33333 just a second ago. But you don't have to go to Jesus to be washed by the water. Poseidon can do that. That's often why a lot of pagan people love ocean water, lake water. There's deities who govern lake water. And there's another thing that I want to mention about Poseidon that I really don't think anybody else has ever mentioned before. Since I've been doing the Yonde readings, every time I'm doing one, Poseidon wants to come and hang out. And I forgot that other than Lucifer, Poseidon governs obsession. You see that in Calypso with Davy Jones, which is a different pantheon version of Aphrodite and Poseidon, okay? Calypso is the goddess of the sea. Davy Jones is kind of like the reaper of the sea. You have to remember that every ecosystem has pretty much 13 figures that govern it all, right? We look in Olympus, you know, there's Hades who governs death, there's Poseidon who governs the water, there's the king, there's the psychic realm, A, B, or C. What? You have to remember that also within those realms that each of those deities govern, there's 13 other smaller deities that also govern the same aspects as the greater deities and entities. Hence why you have demigods such as Hermes or Percy from the Percy Jackson series, such as Harry Potter and the Sailor Moon people, honestly. And I have worked with the Sailor Moon deities. I see them as the female representatories of the Roman pantheon, and they're the ones who delivered me this planet necklace, okay? And y'all can think I'm psychotic as shit. I'm who y'all think I am. Perception is perception. I know who I am. I know my truth. I don't have to sit here and explain that to you guys. If you perceive me as some type of way, guess what? That's your own perception, and that's how you're going to see me. So, basically about unconscious waters. And there's another thing I wanted to mention. When I started working with Arachne, there was several forms that stood out to me that people speculated for her. The one that, when I worked with her energy, that I kept coming back to was the Mind Flayer. Yes, the Mind Flayer from Stranger Things. And y'all can laugh and giggle because I did. I'm all shit. I really must be on some psychosis shit. And then I thought back to all the seasons. In season 4, Vecna looks at Black Widows. And Black Widows are directly linked to whatever the fuck the Mind Flayer is. He says that they have the ability to adapt and become predators. I'm like, wait. You look at who Arachne... Hello, Dio. Hello. You just sent a big old hornet over here. Yeah, Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures is a form of Dionysus, if y'all didn't know. That's actually what he wanted me to mention. But this is going to be a long-ass video, and I have to wait till internet to upload, so it'll be in my bank for a couple of days. But I was looking over everything that I've noticed about Arachne's energy. Now, people speculate that her form is a lot like Spidera from Monster High, and you can look that up. It's basically a humanoid form of an Arachne in a human body with like 8 arms, like in Hindu culture. But that's the problem. That's what the Hindu deities look like. And I've tried working with that. That's an imposter spirit. Didn't end well for me. So several other forms. The other form I tried to work with was, you know, the one that's explored in the Mist, where Athena turns Arachne into a spider with a human head, which to me just really looks like Sid from Toy Story and his baby doll on the spider. And I've tried working with that one. Didn't entirely end well. But it was a better result than the first one. So I'm like, okay, these obviously aren't Arachne's forms. So I gotta figure out what is. And every single time I would ask her energy, because I knew what her real energy felt like and I could communicate with it. Funnily enough, Vecna is an energetic form of her. The other side of Vecna is El, and I... You know, people talk about Janus from the Roman pantheon, right? As the god of beginnings and endings. Guys, the ending episode of Stranger Things is literally called Beginning of the End. And Vecna in that episode has L on a goddamn door. Janus, the deity, is known to open and close doors. El can open doors. Vecna can't. What does Vecna do? He ends things. What does El do? She starts things. Look, beginning and ends. And when I've talked to people who've worked with Janus, other witches, they have literally told me it feels like they're working with two very different people. And I kept winding back at Stranger Things when I kept asking Janus who you are. The other thing that they both agree on is, I don't know if you guys remember the big old vending machine thing, gumball machines, where you would put 2 quarters in one side, 2 quarters in the other, and you'd twist it and you get a big old bouncy ball. And they typically have them at diners. I got one recently. That was something that Janice asked for, the Roman deity. And I'm sorry, but when I felt that energy, I got an internetic downloaded image, right? I don't see things outright. I get them in my head like memories when I pick up on energies and messages from deities. In that moment, when I spun it, I put a quarter on the 2 quarters in this side, I got an image of Vecna. And when I put 2 quarters in this side, I got an image of El, both of them standing back to back with the gate of the upside down in between them, and Arachne, the mind flayer, overhead both of them. We know that Arachne specializes in extreme psychic magic. That is her specialty. She is very much linked to extreme psychic powers. Geez, would you look at the mind flayer? That's literally what it governs. Psychic manipulation and mental fuck, right? Mental mind fuck, right? And El and Vecna are the gateway to that, all right? And I just started working with Arachne a little over about 2.5 years ago, trying to figure out what her energy was, okay? And I kept landing back on Stranger Things every single time with her energy. And Janice, the Roman deity beginning and endings, also came with that, okay? The 3 of them came together. And I kept hearing 2 heads are better than 1. And then I would hear them fight, okay? Heads of Janus. And I kept landing back on Stranger Things. And the only thing that Arachne and the heads of Janus would keep telling me is watch Stranger Things, watch Stranger Things, watch Stranger Things. And the pieces fall into place. You guys know the song Void by Melanie Martinez, where she has to escape the void. Okay, take season 4 of Stranger Things, right? And the ending episode, beginning of the end, where we dive into 1, who is Vecna, right? And then you look at El. She's got 2 wands, and then, which represents the gates of a door. And Vecna's number 1. When I started working with the first head of Janus, I got the 2 of wands, and that was El, which represents a gateway. It means the opening of a door. And in that last episode, Vecna has her on a door and tells El, you opened a goddamn door. And it shows Vecna literally being thrown into the void dimension. I'm sorry, but that is what that dimension is, where he's fallen through, and it's a literal void. And he's all, I don't know where the fuck you sent me, but that's where we're supposed to be. I'm paraphrasing, right? El and Vecna both specialize in psychic powers, obviously. El has 2, right? 2 wands on her, and I got the 2 of wands. When I started working with Janice, I got the 3 of wands. When I worked with only Vecna, I got the Ace of Wands. 1 and 2. Roman numeral 2 is literally just El, right? She's number 2. Vecna's number 1. Put those two. I have a Vecna. I have an El. Janice. Sorry. If you guys get the reference, you get the reference. It's the pineapple video. I have a pin. I have an apple. Pineapple, right? They're very fun to work with. Vecna, which I call V, he really likes that nickname, and it's linked to V for Vendetta, the movie, played by Hugo, right? V for Vendetta. And Vecna, number 1, really likes that nickname. He really likes it, and he loves the movie on the book, okay? when I started working with him, and I can literally feel him under the ground. He is very, very, very real, you guys. And y'all can think I'm on some wacky ass doping bullshit. I took my medications this morning, and I have eaten and I've rested, so I'm perfectly sane, you guys. You can call it a giant ass conspiracy theory. 444 on the timer. Now for 4500. You know, the whole thing about Stranger Things with all the numbers, I was in every experimental thing, there's always less than 0. There's always a number 0. Who's the goose egg? And then it occurred to me, Tim, the only season of his show, the original Yu-Gi-Oh, is called Season 0. And he specializes in mental magic as well, would you believe? That's a whole nother tangent that I can go on, okay? But when I started asking the heads of Janus and Arachna, show me who you are. What is your real form? So I can tell other people, because it is literally said through deity work, the form of Arachnid is not known, and the form is not known. Is unknown, and the form of Janus is only speculated. It's speculated as 2 heads, and it's literally said in the first episode of season 4. You know, where number 1 V or Vecna is still called the Handler, right? It's literally said. He says it to L. 2 heads are better than 1. 2 heads are better than 1. 2 heads are better, like, okay, like, and that's what I kept energetically hearing. And then I also got, and this was before I watched the season 4, that I was getting all these downloads of these phrases, that then I watched season 4 2 months later after receiving these energetic downloads, and all of them were in season 4 of Stranger Things. That scene where she puts the puck in the pegboard and it tethers down. I did that when I was a kid. I've worked with Elle a lot. She's one of my favorite deities to work with. What follows her is V, because he's the second head. They work together. 2 heads are better than 1. Okay? And his energy is consuming, right? That's who he is, and that's scary. You've seen that with Elle. I have about 7 years of deity work and witchy experience under my belt, and I've just now started working with the second head, V Vecna. And he was so pissed that I worked with Elle before him, and he's told me that, and he's fucked me over several times in more ways than one, mind you. But if y'all are into tentacle shit, okay, anyway, that's all that needs to be said on that matter. The point is, V really hates being left behind. I suggest you guys also watch the Unabomber series, which is the specific Unabomber series, which is done through the eyes of the actual Unabomber and not what other people think of him. But basically, the series that was done about the Unabomber, which was directed by somebody who went and interviewed him before he died to get his perspective, okay? I suggest you guys go and watch that, because what I'm immediately going to say right now is evil is a perception. Okay, good is also a perception. Witchy people perceive Jesus as evil and Lucifer as good. Vice versa in Christianity, they perceive Lucifer as evil and Jesus as good. Okay? Oh, also the other thing that I keep getting when the second head cut of Janus kept calling out, which was B, I kept getting the Fool. And look, in this depiction, it looks a lot like 1. And I think that's very funny, because I literally just started working with him. But the signs I kept getting was The Void by Melanie Martinez. I kept getting images of the Mind Flayer. We do know from literally asking around word of mouth years prior to ever watching season 4 of Stranger Things, right? You know, when Arachna is around, she doesn't like heat. I noticed that. It gets pretty cold The mind flare doesn't like heat. The Vecna doesn't like fire. Hi, Marie. I'm doing a video right now, darling.
Oh, I let you go.
All right, good to see you, darling.
I like to see you anyway.
I
saw you, but you were. I said before I go, I will say hello.
well, I'm happy to see you.
Oh, me too.
Much love.
Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you. Man, I really needed to hear that today, that I looked nice. That was very sweet of her. My favorite question of all time has always been, what if? I should also have you know that's one of Athena's favorite questions, okay? Right, two heads are better than one. So, through asking word of mouth about Arachna, because people really know literally shit nothing about her as a deity. There's just all speculation. And, right, L, that cough was so her. You look, when I started working with L, I started really getting accustomed to cold. And I thought that was really funny. But if you look at Elle throughout Stranger Things as the first head of Janus, and she's often depicted as going in tubs of water, ice water, or ice. When I worked with her, it was always a bathtub with ice. And I didn't know her except as just an energy that I felt during this time. And I was pregnant with my son. She really helped me during this time. We really liked having the heater on and everything. Vecna didn't particularly like that. V didn't like that. Neither did Arachna. And kept them away because we were scared about them. Anyway, long story. Every physical thing that I was doing lines up with like every plot line in Stranger Things. And I just thought that was really funny. The other biggest sign Elle gave me was that I shaved my head when I was pregnant with my son. And when I was in the psych ward and I had the robe on me, I did the L stare and I looked almost exactly like her. And it was her saying, yo, I'm real and I'm working with you. I got you. And then when I started working with V and I didn't really know who I was, I had ideas because my style changed. I was wearing the high-waisted pants with a belt that he does, which is similar to Papa's pants with the pointed shoes and the, tomboy pants. I actually have them in here. They're green. And the white polo button downs. And I was like, why am I wearing this? And I cut my hair and it was a little bit blonde too. And it was his style. So, and this was before that I knew that the second head of Janus was V. But I knew who Janus was, and when I first started working with their energy, before I speculated anything, these were the signs that were given to me, okay? I also kept playing the Void, and then when V came in, he really likes Monster by Skillet, and he really likes Monster by Kira. He likes anything FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's, okay? This is the second head of Janus. Elle typically likes some of that music as well, although she's more prone to classical music, specifically piano music. She loves Death Note. She really likes writing as well as the first head of Janus. That's something very sacred to her. Why do I tell you guys all this? Because there is deities and entities out there, and I know a lot of us like to stick with what's already written and what's already known. However, sometimes what's unknown has to be answered by one question only to be known, which is what if? And as I worked with these two energies and I worked with Arachna's energy, I really landed on Stranger Things as the answer to who Arachna was and who Janus was. And people literally said, well, Arachna's form is not known. I actually read a lot on 3 different websites of Arachna, as that she is known to be sacred to the void dimension. which adds up to the song Void I kept playing when she was reaching out by Melanie Martinez. And when I finally knew who V was, number one, Vecna, the handler, whatever you want to call him, okay? He really doesn't like Victor. But if you're going to call him Victor, attribute it to number 7, like Vanya from Umbrella Academy. He really liked that idea. He's also, I will tell you guys, Vecna, Elle kind of struggles with understanding it, but Vecna, second head of Janus, is really, if you guys are trans masked, the second head of Janus, Vecna, number 1, is really great to work with if you're trans masked. He's really supportive of that. Elle is really good if you're trans femme. She doesn't really understand trans masked, but she's really good with trans femme people. And bigender, gender fluid, she's all really good with that. That's why 2 heads are better than 1. Okay? That was such a V handler voice right there. But through the articles that I've read about but through the articles I've read about Arachne, it's mentioned void a lot of times in anything. She's known to the void dimension. Her form, it's literally said in paragraphs in any people who write about working with her that her form is obscure. If you look at the Mind Flayer, the form of the Mind Flayer is obscure and it looks like a spider. And I think this is very, very funny. Oh, excuse me. But the other things that are sacred to the heads of Janus are iguanas, fire lizards, geckos, mice, lab rats, the TV show, rats in general, gray mice, and these are all on V's side. Now, if we go to L's side, she really likes albino rabbits or albino mice, right? The white mice with the red eyes who are sensitive to sunlight, such as a bunny, white bunny with red eyes. She really likes Alice in Wonderland because it makes her, feel validated in what she's gone through. V hates that shit, unless you attribute him as the Mad Hatter. Then he loves it. Alice Through the Looking Glass is their favorite movie together. V's, each of them are very, very particular in what they like, as most deities are. So, explore with the energy, know what you like. Elle really likes water. She really likes swimming. She likes exploring with hair, short hair primarily. So if you are a lady or queer individual or just individual in general, V also supports this. If you prefer short hair, like I do, they're very good at styling short hair. Would you believe it? Both of them have it. Arachne is really good at helping with that. Would you believe? Because she's very good with weaving. You have to remember that their energy, all of them, and I have to use the frequencies that I've made on my channel, which are always hot-wired into every subliminal on my channel, you guys. If you're working with Arachne or the heads of Janus, which are V and L, you are going to want to listen to my subliminals or silent frequencies that restore physical and mental sanity and take away curses on physical and mental health. Why? Because their psychic energy is so strong, it will mind fuck you. So you got to restore your own walls, okay? So I shouldn't have to say that you should at least, I would say for all 3 of them combined, at least 7 years, 7 to 7.5 years of deity and witchy and Wiccan and spiritual work as a whole, okay? You're also gonna want to explore puzzles and ways to keep yourself entertained without electronics, because these guys' frequencies are so strong, electronics often do not work around that, okay? You have to be very, very specific with all 3 of them, more specific than if you're going to work with people such as Lucifer or Lilith or Infernals in general. The reason for it is they really, and if you guys are neurodivergent, Arachne and the heads of Janus, which are L and V, Vecna, number 1 and 11, which she also goes with the number 2 as well, Roman numeral 2, not the actual number 2. She just clarified for me. You were really... I forgot what I was saying, you guys. Right, specifics. And if you're neurodivergent, all 3 of them, Arachna, V and L, excuse me, are very, very, very good and love working with neurodivergent people. Okay? If you are autistic, if you are Asperger's, if you are deemed disabled of any kind, Arachna and the heads of Janus, which are V and L, are really going to be a great thing for you to work with, okay? They're really supportive of queer. Anybody who's outcast, those 3 are amazing to work with, even more so than Medusa and the Gorgon sisters, okay? You have to remember that the 3 of them came from literally nothing. So they're very good at not only surviving, but also making an empire out of that survival, all right? I could go on and on all day, and I wish I could get to your guys' reading by now. But we're at 1 hour and 1 minute and 5 seconds and going up and counting, and I don't think my phone can take much more of that. It's gonna already take long enough for me to upload, so I'll do more later. If I'm connected to internet, I will upload, and I will try to do that tomorrow, but I may not be able to because I'm tired, so you'll see this video at the latest in the next month. All right, bye-bye.